What is up, guys? Hope everybody's having a great day. Welcome back to another edition of the 30-day Bootcamp. I am in the studio today. It is a holiday, so if you're watching, I appreciate you being here, and I want to wish everyone a happy Memorial Day. And before we get started today, we're going to go through my top 10 success principles, and really just let you know, I want to share with you guys the things that have helped me really grow my business over the course of the last, almost 15 years. A lot of these things I learned along the way, some later than others, and some even as recent as the last few years, but all of them moving together and in combination, creating a great result and experience for my clients, which has in turn actually been just monumental in our business and the success that we've had. Okay. So let's dive in, let's get rolling. And I did want to tell you guys, I know in this 30-day bootcamp, we were going to talk about lighting, posing, and some things like that. One of the things that I actually have decided just recently this weekend that I'm going to do is I'm going to hold on that stuff right now, and I'm going to do that with some live recorded demos in studio for you guys. So within the next few weeks, I'm going to have those for you guys, and we'll do them live, and I'll invite you guys to it, and you can check it out. I feel like it'd be far more beneficial to do it live, so that if you have questions real time, you can ask. So I thought that would be pretty cool. Anyways, let's get rocking and rolling. So, top 10 success principles. Now, before we actually dive into the top 10 principles, I want to talk about what we've already covered. Okay, so just give me a quick minute, 2 minutes here. Let's recap and really dive into what we've actually unpacked in the last, I guess, 21 days or so. First things first, mindset. So doing the right things to mentally prepare for success. Okay, that's like, again, the starting point of all of this being successful in your business for you. Okay. Beliefs. So aligning your beliefs with the outcomes that you want. So we talked about how to basically choose what it is that you want and then set yourself up on the right track in your mind so that you can actually succeed. Future casting. So setting goals and aiming at the correct target versus, randomly shooting at a bunch of different stuff with no direction. We talked about how to set goals and how to get to that next level by having a clear, defined target. Money. So creating the right relationship with money. So making sure that you don't have the mindset that money's bad or money's evil or I can't charge or guilt around money, because if you have guilt around money, you're gonna have a hard time asking your clients for it. Okay. Hey guys, see you in the chat. Thanks for being here. Health, taking care of you so that you can best serve others. If you're not healthy, nobody wins. You don't win, the client doesn't win, you can't serve, right? So you want to make sure that health is in full effect. Developing your brand. So setting yourself up for success in all aspects of your business and being recognized. So we talked about, again, just everything from the point of startup, with all the basics of like business license, filings, all of those things, to really establishing who it is that you want to serve and, all of the site identity and things like that you need. And if you guys missed any of this stuff, you can go back through all of these trainings. They're in the units within the Facebook group, okay? Marketing. So we went through a full week of marketing, talking about concepts to attract clients to your business and ways to form impactful relationships with vendors who can help you thrive. So everything, we talked about lead magnets. We talked about all kinds of different ways to connect with other vendors and do projects where you're trading and putting yourself out there like that, so that you're constantly getting yourself in front of people. This was a really big section. I didn't necessarily intend to spend 5 full days on it, but I'm glad that we did. And same with sales. We spent all of last week on sales and just talked about the importance of having great sales and what having great sales means for your business, how it keeps you profitable, how it keeps you in a position to be financially secure, so that not only are you serving your clients at the highest level, but you're serving your family and you're able to quit your 9 to 5 and those sorts of things. Okay. So we've covered a lot of territory over the first 3 weeks. And my intention in this last week here is to really bring it all home for you guys, tie a lot of this stuff together. And again, any of the real time, like posing, lighting, all of that sort of stuff, we're going to follow this whole series up with some specific trainings on that, where Jess and I are actually in the studio working with the model and showing you guys exactly how we, shoot our subjects and all that, right? And I always hesitate to say shoot our subjects because we're photographing them. We're not actually using weapons, okay? So that language always gets a little dicey. But let's dive in. I want to talk about the top 10 success principles. And these are the top 10 things that have helped me build a successful career as a photographer over the last 15 years, okay? So let's start with number one, which is authenticity. And when you think about being authentic, you think about people that you like, okay? So people buy from people that they like, period. If somebody doesn't like you, it doesn't matter how good you are, they're typically not gonna buy from you, okay? So you have to be likable, you have to be genuine. And when you have conversations with people, when you're trying to win them as clients, you're gonna lose their trust if you are not likable or you don't come across as authentic. So it's really important that when you're communicating with people, that you really carry an authenticity about just everything that you say and do. You need to mean what you say and say what you mean, okay? And sometimes saying what you mean isn't necessarily the best thing, but I feel like there's a real authenticity to being honest, okay? Now, successful brands, they build authentic trust with their clients. Think about any brand that you love. Think about any brand that you love. If they, you guys know I'm like an Apple freak, right? I talk about Apple all the time, but anything like Apple, Nike, Target, any of these things, they build brand loyalty and they build a following because they're authentic. And they basically present themselves in a way that serves the client, and the client knows that they can trust the brand. You have to do the same thing for your business, okay? So that's one of the biggest things. And then the lack of authenticity, once again, it's going to lead to a loss of trust. And in turn, if you can't gain the trust of your clientele or your prospects, you're not going to be able to retain them as clients, or you're not even going to be able to land them as clients because they already don't trust you, okay? So authenticity is massive, and it's one of the biggest things that you guys need to make sure, as you're approaching and discussing your business with clients and prospects, that you really stay in an authentic space, okay? Number two is confidence. Now look, this is a hard place for a lot of people. It was hard for me when I was building. I think it's hard for most people building. But let me give you guys some insights into confidence, okay? Plain and simple. If you are not confident in what you offer, your client's not going to be either. I talk about this a lot with people. It's if you don't believe in the product, if you don't believe in what you're offering, if you're not confident in it, how could you actually realistically expect your client to be? So when you go to into your conversations with potential clients or prospects, you need to be 100% confident in what you offer and know the value that you bring to the table. And if you don't own that confidence, you cannot expect the client or the prospect is going to actually buy into that. And in fact, you need to understand that everything is energy. So confidence is energy. So if you're think about it like, if you're super happy, that's an energy. If you're super low or sad, that's an energy, right? So fear has an energy, so does confidence. And you got to understand, you need to think like your potential client. If you're a potential client and you're approaching a brand, are you going to buy from the brand who seems down in the dumps or uncertain or unsure? Or are you going to buy from the brand that knows what they're talking about? They have a full confidence. They know exactly what it is that they're about. And doesn't that inspire you to want to take action and work with them? Because I know for me it does. If I was looking for a product and the company's like, oh well, it works 50% of the time, and the 50% of the time it does work, we're not even really sure what kind of results people get. Like that's just a random example, but like there's not a lot of confidence there. When you can portray and convey value confidently to your client or to your prospects, they're going to want to work with you more, okay? So just know you've got to bring that to the table. Now, if you don't have the confidence that you need right now, that's okay. What I want you guys to do is just start working on developing confidence one step at a time. And one of the things we talk about with a lot of our clients is celebrating wins. Every single thing that you do, that big or small, that is positive is a win, right? So you set up your website, win. You got 2 leads in today, win, right? You celebrate all of those wins, and those wins stack higher and higher and higher, and that builds the collective confidence that you have. Okay, so that is one of the biggest things you guys can do. If you feel like you're low on the confidence meter right now, that's okay. We all were there at some point. A lot of people stay there and never move from it. If you're aware of it and you can move from it, then you're in a position to win, okay? And confidence, like anything else, is a muscle that can be developed and strengthened through repetition. So start small and build big. And that's one of the biggest things you guys can do. It's one of the biggest things any of us can do is start small and build big. And that's with any aspect of our business. And like Jess just said, it all starts with your belief. If you believe in the value of what you have to offer, your client will believe as well, right? So your belief in the value, you're basically, in a way, that's almost like passively selling to your client without having to really sell anything. They're buying your belief and your energy. And that's huge. Great point, Jess. Okay. Empathy. Number 3. So empathy is huge in the conversations that you have with your clients. Now listen, we work in a space photographically where clients spend, $3,000 to $5,000 on average, right? And that's where everybody wants to be. So here's the thing. Your clients are allowed to have fear around that. Your clients are allowed to feel uncertain about investing a certain amount of money. In fact, you can be empathetic to a degree because you've probably felt that way about something that, in your life that you were going to make a purchase about, and I'm just using price as one example of empathy. But here's the thing. You can use that to reassure them that you understand how they feel, right? Empathy is a great thing and a very powerful tool, but you have to make sure that you're not buying every story that the client tells you. And what I mean by that is this, right? It is your right to lift them out of whatever the empathetic situation they're in is, but you cannot buy into their story. And if you buy their story, you lose. And what I mean is this. A lot of times people will make excuses to not take action. For example, I don't have enough money, or I don't have enough time, or, XYZ scenario that isn't really real, but it's sort of like one of those things that we all make up because, human behavior, like we're all sort of conditioned to make excuses for the reasons we don't do certain things or we don't get into action. So it's okay to be empathetic to the point that you understand why they feel that way, but it's also our job to use that empathy to relate to them and pull them through and basically create an experience that turns them into a client. Okay, that's really big. So like I said, empathy's fine, but you must maintain the frame of mind and belief above all else that what you bring to the table, and you can't settle. Like if somebody's like, well, if you sell a product that's $1,000 and they're like, well, I can only pay $200. It's okay to be empathetic to the fact that maybe they are in a situation financially that's not perfect or not ideal, but you can't beat yourself down, $800 down to the $200 mark to meet them because you're buying their story. What I believe is true is that people will invest in what they value, and people will find the money to invest in the things that they want. Okay? So that's a really big thing. But again, like I said, empathy allows you to relate to someone's situation without accepting it as reality. Okay? And that really gives you leverage to empower them to take the next step and create the transformation. We see it all the time in boudoir. Most of the time with boudoir, the example is, I've never done a session before, or I'm 20 pounds overweight, or, I don't think I'm pretty, or I don't look like the women on your website. Like we hear stuff like this all the time. And if we were just like, oh, get over it, that's not showing empathy, right? What we do is we say, hey, listen, we get it. We hear it all the time. In fact, everybody that comes to us to work with us, almost every single person says the same exact thing. But here's the deal. You come in, you let us create an experience for you that's going to blow your mind. And I promise you on the other side of it, you're going to see yourself as a completely transformed person, completely different. And it's that empathy. It's that ability to bring people in, let them know that you've got them, right? You understand where they're coming from, and then sort of drive them into the process of making the decision that is incredibly powerful, okay? And that's the biggest thing about empathy. Most people are like sort of quick to move off of something. Like, they like somebody says something, maybe it triggers them, it annoys them. And they're like, yeah, whatever, this is my price, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't really show that you care. But having empathy does show that you care. And I think people today, especially more now than ever, want to know that the businesses they're working with care about them and they have their best interests at heart. Okay? So empathy is massive. This is one of the things that honestly took me a long time to develop. I wasn't necessarily the most empathetic person at the very beginning of my business, right? At the beginning, I just wanted to make money. I wanted to get my feet off the ground. I wanted to get things, moving in the right direction. But what I learned through my business is that the more empathetic I was, the more people appreciated like what I brought to the table, and the more people actually saw me as a real person and not just somebody trying to sell them something, right? And I know Jess is chiming in. She's got a couple of notes I want to throw up here. So she says, progress equals success. Celebrate progress. And this is about the wins I was talking about earlier. So yeah, celebrate every win, okay? Hold on. Let's go to Vaishali. How do you lift them out of it and not buy into their stories? Is there a way to have them still invest in you, or is it mostly a lost client? Okay, Vaishali, this is a great question. And here's the thing. The biggest thing you have to understand is most of the time when people present something like this to you, it is an objection. It's simply fear, right? There's just a block that they're setting up in their mind, their own limitation that they're setting up. And it's almost like Honestly, most of the time it's not even a real limitation. It's just something that they've kind of put up there as a defense mechanism because they're afraid to take the next step. So what you have to do is show your value. When somebody over and over says that to you, like they keep giving you stories or reasons why they can't do something, most of the time what they're saying is, I haven't seen enough value in what you do to hire you. And that's a really nice way, because most people aren't going to actually say that to you, but that's a really nice way to have them to say it, like, oh, well, I can't do it because I've got, I'm building a deck this weekend and that's going to take all of my money. Like, people will find excuses because they don't want to oftentimes tell you the truth, when the truth really is like, hey, like they're more afraid and they haven't seen the value in what you offer yet. And that's really like the biggest point for that. Okay. Jess says, definitely not a lost client. Very often these clients will be your best. And Jess is 100% right. I find oftentimes the clients that are the hardest to land are also the ones that go the absolute furthest and sort of like telling the world about our business. Like, they're the ones that post on our VIP group. They're the ones that write great reviews. They're the ones that show up and support. And, it's not necessarily that they don't want to work with you. It's that they don't necessarily trust you enough or haven't seen the value. All right. So just remember that. Okay. Let's keep going. Okay. But empathy is huge. I'm telling you guys, if you can master empathy, it's super, super powerful. It really is. Jess hit on belief earlier. So you must believe that the result you want is possible. Now, this is one of the things that I tell people all the time. If you don't believe it's possible, it's not going to be possible. Okay. So what you have to do is basically minimize all of the noise around you. If you listen to outside opinion, that is a recipe for disaster. Your belief about what's possible is what matters most. You see this a lot. I can't tell you guys how many people I've talked to over the years that stop making progress or stop pursuing their dream because somebody else told them they could not do it. A family member, a good close friend, a partner. It's crazy to me that sometimes the people that are the closest to you will be the ones that tear you down the fastest. And they don't even know that they're doing it. They don't even mean to do it, but they're the ones that keep you in the negative belief that you can even accomplish what it is you want. So here's what I want you to do. I want to reframe that. If you don't believe something's possible, or let's put it this way. If you believe that you can have the dream business that you want, but you haven't seen it yet, and then people are telling you, hey, you can't do this, coronavirus state, you can't start a business now. I want you to push that belief out and choose to believe in what it is that you want, and only that belief. And here's what you need to think about. Somebody else is already doing it. So you cannot deny that it can be done, okay? There's no denying that what you want can be accomplished. The truth is, if it wasn't possible, nobody would be doing it. So what's happening is that a lot of times people will listen to outside opinions, somebody that says it can't be done, and they have literally zero skin in the game. They have zero experience in the field that you're actually pursuing. So what you need to do is make sure that, you have to be aware. There's like a certain awareness here where if you listen to everything people say and you don't trust yourself, you're going to always self-sabotage. You've got to internally know what it is that you want, and you have to believe that you can have it. And then you take the steps in the right direction. So what I want you to focus on, again, if anybody tells you you can't do it, you can say, hey, thanks for your opinion and your feedback. I'm going to do my thing. And just keep thinking about the fact that somebody's already doing what you want to do. So you can't deny it can be done. Now the question you have to ask yourself is, how do I get there? How do I achieve the same or similar results as the person who is getting the result I want? That's the big question. It's not, can I do it or can it be done? It's, how do I get there? How can I get that result? So the biggest thing you can do is only pursue positive thoughts, okay? If you live in the land of negativity, again, we talked about this in mindset, but you're going to literally sabotage yourself on a subconscious level, because everything that you put into your head, it starts to manifest in the subconscious. So like, it's kind of crazy to explain, but here's the thing. We're constantly taking things in and day out. And the things that we take in are also coming out. Like what you bring in, you put out. The same thing is like we talked about, I think it was a week or two ago now. You can't plant like apples and expect carrots or tomatoes, right? If you plant apples, you're gonna get apples. So you have to pursue positive thoughts only and weed out the negative thoughts, okay? Let's see what Jess has a comment I'm gonna pull up on the screen. She says, it's the biggest motivator. Like, tell me that I can't do something and I'll show you otherwise. And Jess, that's really big. You guys know I tell that story quite a bit about when I was dating. This girl I dated in my early 20s, and she told me to go get a real job. I've told you guys quite a bit about this. But she told me to go get a real job. And that's because her belief in what I could do was not in alignment with what my belief was. And that's why that relationship at the time was over, because you can't be around and surround yourself with people who put you down and tell you can't do something. You got to be willing to show up, and you've got to be willing to keep the belief in yourself that you can't have what you want. So you got to pursue positive thoughts only. Again, that doesn't mean we're not going to ever see negative things or hear negative things, but you have a choice. We all have a choice. And we can either choose to embed those things and believe those things and dwell on those things, or you can push the negativity out and live in the mindset of positivity. And you'll be amazed at what comes out when that's the mindset that you live in. And last one here. So simply put, if you believe it's possible, and the same rule applies for disbelief. So if you tell yourself, hey, I can't do this, it'll never happen, like it's not going to happen for you. I'm sorry to tell you. You can't live in a negative mindset and expect a positive outcome. You have to live in a positive mindset, right? It's the same thing. If you ever need a way to remember this, think about it in the terms of planting crops. Again, I know I use it a lot. It's a simple analogy, but you don't plant, apples and get carrots. You plant apples, you get apples. You plant positivity in, positivity comes out. You plant positive belief in, positive belief comes out. And the same applies to negativity. So that's the biggest thing you have to do, is make sure that you don't buy into any negative belief that's sabotaging you. And number 5 is no scarcity. Now here's the thing, scarcity, or as we call it, scarcity, is a poison. And what I mean by that is when you live in scarcity, you live in a mindset or a situation of lack, okay? And what I mean by that is, like, you basically live in a place where I don't have enough, I can't do it, I don't have enough. Like, you're basically saying, you're listing all of the references for why you can't do something. That is called living in scarcity. You've got to change and live in abundance, okay? Scarcity is literally fear energy. That's it. So when people act like afraid to move forward, that's scarcity. That's fear energy. And again, fear is a really good thing, guys. We've talked about it before. Fear is a good thing because fear is a motivator, okay? If you can convert the fear energy into action energy or into motivation energy, that's a good thing. But if you stay living in fear energy, it's going to repel your success, okay? It repels all good things from happening to you. So you can't live in a state of fear. You have to live in the state of abundance. And if you can live in abundance, you can have the life that you want, okay? So here's the thing. One of the biggest things is, even if you don't have the life that you want right now, even if you don't have the business that you want right now, you have to live in the feeling of abundance. You have to live in the feeling of what does it feel like to have that dream business? What does it feel like to have that 6-figure business where I have amazing clients and I'm living the life of my dreams and I'm empowered and like literally nothing can stop me? That's where you have to live internally. You got to live there. If you live in scarcity, it's going to always limit your ability to progress as a business owner, okay? And it doesn't just affect your business, it affects your personal life, okay? Look at any business owner that's successful and look at how much scarcity you can find, in anything they say or do. The thing is, the more successful the person is, the less scarcity you're going to find. Look for it. Go out there and look at people that are successful and see if you can find scarcity. Now, here's the thing. What you focus on and believe, you're going to attract. So if you believe and focus on success and abundance, then you're going to begin attracting that back to your life, okay? Because what happens is success and abundance, those things are magnetic, okay? You can't, there's no way around this. If you believe the opposite way, if you believe in failure and I can't, that's what's going to come. That's just going to come to you. That's just the way it is. So you've got to choose to believe in what it is that you want in your business. You've got to attract success to you, okay? I was reading in a book, I think it was Think and Grow Rich. I can't remember. I read a lot of books nowadays, but one of the things that said poverty is not subtle. Poverty shows up unannounced. It's like the crazy, loud, wild child, where success is like a romantic partner. It needs to be attracted, right? You have to do the right things to attract it. It doesn't just show up and fall in your lap. So to be successful, you've got to actually be willing to believe that you can be successful and focus on that success, okay? And here's the thing. If you can get to a place of abundance mentally, then you can have everything you want, okay? So like, and I use Then Make Your Calls as an example. So like, say you're calling a prospect and you're trying to work with them on, converting them into a client. If you get on the phone with the prospect and you're in a scarcity mindset, you're going to have a really, really hard time converting them into a client. But if you get into a place of abundance mentally and you get to a place where like, hey, I've got everything I need, like all my needs are met, whether I have this client or not, I'm good. Like when you can just make those calls from a place of confidence like that, you're going to see a world of difference in your conversations. And I promise you guys, your clients, they buy your confidence more than they buy your product. And that is the honest to God's truth. So if you can create and follow, and I'm only going through the 5 of the 10, so the first half of the principles today. But if you can get to a place of abundance mentally and then make your calls and then put out your posts for your business and then carry out any conversations business related, you're going to find you can have whatever you want in your business. And it really is a magical thing, okay? So I hope you guys got a lot out of this. We're going to cover the second half of these 10 principles tomorrow. But I want to offer you guys, once again, if you're at a place where you want to be, and you can see the slide for tomorrow. Okay, if you're at a place in your business where you're feeling stuck, you're feeling like you live in scarcity energy, you're feeling like I don't know how to transition from scarcity to abundance, right? Or any of those 5 things we talked about, whether it's beliefs or empathy, confidence, or authenticity, if you need to convert your business, from being stuck to taking it to the next level, I want you to book a breakthrough call with us today at 7stepsixfigures.com/apply. We'll walk through all of this stuff with you. We'll show you exactly how to create the business of your dreams. We'll show you we'll basically work on creating a roadmap for you that you can start following and implementing strategically, step by step, to get your business to the next level, okay? And that's the big thing, guys. You've got to be able to take and apply these things that we're talking about today to build your dream business, okay? A lot of people just talk about like the mechanical things, like how to light, how to pose, how to get leads in the door. And all those things are great. But the thing that people aren't talking about, the things people aren't talking about are the things like authenticity and confidence and being empathetic and having the right beliefs and not living in scarcity. Those are the powerful things that need to be talked about. And that's why for the bulk of these trainings, I've gone through this stuff with you guys, because you need to develop that mindset. You need to develop these patterns, because what it does is when you face adversity in your business, then you can go into your business with a boatload of confidence. You know what I mean? Like you can face adversities in a totally different way when you get to this point. You see what I'm saying? So when somebody can be like a challenging client or prospect, and you like in the past you wouldn't have known how to deal with it, but now you've got the right mindset and you've got the right systems to know how to deal with it. It makes you 1,000 times stronger, and that's how businesses succeed. So if you're stuck and you need help getting to that next level, book the call, 7stepsixfigures.com/apply. We've got your back. I hope you guys have an amazing Memorial Day, and I will catch you guys tomorrow at 2:30. Take care.